Just when I thought that car companies were getting a little bit less tone deaf to the entire enthusiast community, this happens. And by golly, did they do an amazing job. Can someone please inform me how these board meetings go with these new performance cars? It literally feels like they sit in a room and they go, what is the best way to self-sabotage our entire legacy and also self-sabotage the enthusiast opinion? Because I think this video is going to be a quick lesson on a surface level about just PR management and putting out products that people actually want in the enthusiast community. I might seem a little bit more fired up today in this video, but it's more so just literally shock at this point that people keep making the same mistakes. The Subaru STI was always the pinnacle of the Subaru brand, and with this, it does it a complete disservice. So I'm gonna break this car down and then give you my opinion on why I think it's honestly a mistake, and at the same time, it's probably better that they just didn't build it at all at this point. So let's talk about it. So the new STI, there's only going to be 500 of them. Not 5,000, not 10,000, 500. Along with that, it doesn't even make 300 horsepower out of a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder boxer engine.
Ooh. That's kind of small.
You know what made 300 horsepower? The 2015 Subaru STI with 305 horsepower. A decade ago, the STI made more power than the modern limited edition super fancy one. What? And look, after driving a ton of cars over the years, I know better than anybody that horsepower is not everything. However, to the public eye in a PR form sort of way, you need to at least match the previous generation, in my opinion. You can't really backpedal without a good reason. And to me, it doesn't make any sense that they couldn't make this much power out of a 2.4 liter. To give you a frame of reference, the Toyota GR Corolla has 3 cylinders instead of 4. It's got less than 2 liters of displacement and makes 300 horsepower. And it's obviously going to be cheaper than this limited edition Subaru. Next punch in the gut is that it's only available in the CVT transmission. Yes, the STI is an auto only. Limited edition, 500 example.
Come on, man.
Wow, that's totally what we want as enthusiasts. Like, didn't they learn from the Nissan Nismo Z? We all know that the Nismo Z was a better car than the normal Z. It handled better, it had better suspension and all that, but once again, it was very expensive and at the same time, was an auto only, so it made everybody completely kind of disregard it compared to other cars. Look, the internet's a wild place. You can look up feedback for any sports car out there. They're literally in the same country and they can't even notice the feedback loop that the rest of the world has about these sports cars. The enthusiast does not care about lap times for a street car. They want engagement, they want fun. That's why the manual comes in. And before a car company says, oh, well, manuals are too hard to sell nowadays. Not an excuse. The Toyota Super Manual, which is phenomenal, by the way, like I like it 100 times more than the ZF transmission one. More than half of the new Toyota Supra sales last year were manual. More than half. Now, not 10 years ago, now. So it's absolutely no excuse when arguably your biggest rivals in the industry are selling manuals. Could you imagine if the GR86 only came in auto? Could you imagine how bad that car would sell? Like, oh my God, you would take the entire soul out of it. And what's even crazier is if you go all the way back to my review of the 2015 STI of the last generation, I even give an honest opinion about that car where I say that it didn't feel like it innovated enough even then. The 2015 STI has very subtle improvements. It's not one of those cars that really blows you away on the improvements. Like, it's not like it's a completely different car, because it's really not. Believe it or not, the owner of this car had another Subaru before this, but the car came with an engine mount loose from the factory. So that's comforting. It felt very similar to the last car, and it felt like more changes could have been made. Well, now I'm looking back at that and I'm eating my words. Because first we didn't even get an STI out the gate. We had the WRX, which that launch was not that great either, and they advertised that also being CVT only for the best interior package with the Recaro seats. Where are they getting this information from to be like, oh, let's put the racing seats in the auto only version? Why do we need to merge with another company to save ourselves right now? Listen to the consumer. And look, this is not me completely on these Japanese companies. I want them to succeed. It's frustrating. I literally want them to be their own being, to build good cars. The problem is that the answer is right in front of you. And if you want to make manual sports cars, or if you're too scared to make manual sports cars, make a limited run. Like, why is that so difficult when your car company has been doing this for decades? I truly kind of think that the death of the Mitsubishi Evo might have made Subaru's performance division a little competent. Now that their #1 rival was gone, they could just be like, well, it's the only choice now, so we'll just keep building the same thing or less of the same thing. And when a 3-cylinder turbo hatchback is faster, more fun to drive, has an incredible all-wheel drive system, or even, you know, Civic Type R, same thing, makes more horsepower than this. And this being a limited edition, we know that this is going to be more expensive than both of those cars. Why would somebody buy it? Oh wait, they can't, because it's probably not coming to America anyway. It wasn't confirmed for America. Strike 3. It's like... Just to go back to the Supra as an example, when I went to the press launch event back in 2019, the engineer said, basically, in kind of a funny way, they said, look, we would love to answer all your questions, but can you please stop asking us about a manual version, why we didn't make a manual version? Well, they were asked so much about a manual version that they listened. They listened to the community, and they listened to the feedback, and they listened to the consumer that buys a product. It says, let's at least do some super manuals and see how it goes. And it's turned out great. And it's honestly a much more engaging car to drive. It's really fun to drive. And it feels much more like a distant cousin or brother of the Mark IV Supra. It has a little bit more Supra DNA in it because the gearing was changed, the transmission was, you know, completely geared in-house, and it feels natural. A manual in an STI is part of the identity of it. And look, this is not me hating on anybody who's watching right now who owns the brand new WRX. You made a choice and you probably really enjoy your car. However, if I'm driving down the street personally as a car enthusiast, if I see a Hawkeye STI or a Blobeye STI or even 2015 STI generation, I'm gonna be a little bit more excited than when I see the new WRX. It's just a personal preference, but I don't think I'm alone in that statement. If I see a Hawkeye STI, my brain goes, rally legend, fun to drive, engaging, boxer noise, a true STI. And then when I see the new WRX, I'm just like, CVT? Sick. And look, I've heard that the CVT transmission is pretty good. However, it's more about the principle here. As I rant on this video about this, I'm looking at this more from a PR and marketing standpoint. Sure, you've got Brembo brakes. Sure, you've got the crazy carbon Recaros inside. You've got the carbon trim on the car. You have all the looks of a new STI, but making it this limited of a run and not like letting everybody know that you're gonna build more, and also just being so tone deaf to not make a manual version, at least make a third of them manual. It just blows my mind when these car companies get questioned and they go, why didn't you do this? And their answer is, well, don't you want faster lap times? We don't care. We don't care. That was the big argument about the Nissan Z was, why would you do that? Like, why? Do you ever see the Nissan Z on the road? Because I don't. Just for comparison, at the Tokyo Auto Salon, Toyota, once again, they have a 4-cylinder GR Yaris that's mid-engine right now, showing off an underdeveloped 4-cylinder engine. And this could be a hint at an MR2. I don't think they're gonna build this GR Yaris to have a 4-cylinder turbo in it. If anything, it's probably a new Celica or a new MR2. That's exciting. That gets people like me and you talking about, wow, isn't this crazy? Toyota's built almost 4 sports cars now, and they've put manuals in all of them. GR Corolla, GR86, Supra, all have manuals. Anyways, thank you for watching today's seminar. Maybe if the Honda-Nissan merger happens, maybe Honda can do some convincing to Nissan to be like, hey, before you put that auto-only sports car out, consider the other option. Aside from brand new sports cars, by the way, I have a brand new website called Project Car Exchange that curates project cars online. So if you're hunting for that next project or even one that you can just drive away, go check it out. It's really great. So what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the new STI? Do you think it's a disappointment? Am I taking this too seriously? Put it down in the comment section below. And on that note, I typically upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I'll see you guys next time. But take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.